Big financial changes don't have to come from big sacrifices. Sometimes the smartest money moves are the ones tucked into your daily routine. Easy tweaks that quietly add up to real savings over time. Joining us for insights is Lawrence Sprung, founder of Midland Financial and the author of Financial Planning Made Personal. Good to see you today, Lawrence. We're talking kitchen table issues, so let's start right in the kitchen. Where can people save?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you said in the opening, right? It's not about making these large overarching changes. It's trying to use incremental ones. So, right off the bat, meal planning is a huge way to save because number one, if you know what you're going to buy, you avoid making those impulse purchases of those, you know, snack foods, et cetera, that maybe you don't even want, and then also racks up the budget. It also helps you plan better so you have less waste at the end of the week. And if you follow, a few simple ideas like that, the savings add up over, longer periods of time.
And we've all got to eat, so those decisions are being made every day, right? Okay,
Absolutely.
yeah, and last time we spoke, we were talking about cashless payment systems. I believe they're everywhere. So how can a thrifty spender put that to good use?
Yeah, so I mean, we have so much technology at our fingertips this day and age. Let's use it. There are so many ways to get cash back rewards, and I'll share with you a personal experience I had this weekend. I stayed in a hotel Saturday into Sunday morning, and my credit card company had a cashback reward, but I had to opt in for it. And luckily, I knew it was there. I opted in, and I ended up saving $50 on the night stay at that hotel. So look and understand what opt-in rewards your credit card may have. Look at those browser settings that you can or overlays that you can install. That as you make those purchases, those are huge benefits, and also some cashback rewards apps at gas stations, for example. Everybody's complaining or have complained over the last couple of years about increased gas prices, but there are tools at your disposal that will allow you to get discounted gas fill-ups, sometimes certain days during the week, and sometimes all week long.
Good point. Now, if you're not watching closely, as you kind of indicated, all sorts of extra fees or expenses can creep in on the other end. So how can we get out ahead of those kinds of surprise expenses?
Yeah, use that technology that I talked about earlier and automate things as much as possible, but understand and use that technology in terms of setting reminders for when bills need to be paid or prior to it so that you're not hit with late fees. Also, if you subscribe to something new that you're not sure that you're going to keep it, or even if you're sure at that moment that you are going to keep it, put a reminder for when that renewal comes. I know personally I've used apps on my phone that cost a subscription, maybe a monthly subscription. So what I'll do is, usually they'll have a free trial for 30 days. So at 28 or 29 days, I'll put a reminder to remind me to go back and think about and be mindful about whether or not I'm using that app. If I'm using it, I continue and I'll put a reminder later on. But if I'm not, why do I need to have that expense? Cut it out early so that I don't have to even incur that expense. So use that technology to remind us when we need to cancel and or pay certain things.
Adding in some forethought there. All of this paints the picture of very doable financial mindfulness. Just round out that picture for us. What other habits would you suggest here?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, we get overwhelmed, right? We're busy doing our daily lives, whatever that is, work, family, kids, shuffling around, paying bills. It gets overwhelming. So sometimes when you start trying to think about reducing costs or reducing expenses, it's not a joyful exercise because it's not something we want to do. But if we're a little bit more mindful about how we're approaching our financial situation, whether it's, shopping properly and food planning, like I said, using some of those cashback apps or rewards, or, just building those good habits and eliminating subscriptions that we don't need or want any longer, it'll add a lot more joy to our lives. And we don't have to, spend a lot of brain power doing that. Let's use the technology that we have at our disposal to do the thinking for us.
Now, the paradox is, though, if we're not careful, we can be confined by our finances, but too careful might be a little too restrictive as well. You speak about joy a lot, I know, in your business. How do we strike that balance as we're striving to maintain financial peace?
Yeah, I mean, that's, something that is personal to each and every person, because looking at, somebody's budget and even my own budget, right? There are certain things that I look at that are more meaningful to me than others, bring more joy to me than others. And I may not be as willing to cut that out because of that joy factor. So I think you have to really understand where your money's going first. Get a tool out of your bank and export where your spending is going. We talked a little bit about that last time. And then just do a quick audit. It could take you maybe 15, 20 minutes and go through and see, are these things bringing me joy? If so, budget for them appropriately. If not, eliminate them, reduce that budget, and make sure you're taking care of your needs and that your wants aren't really crazy. And those wants that you have are ones that are bringing you joy and aren't just there because you want it.
Sounds like a great direction to head in. Thank you so much for your time today, Lawrence Sprung of Midland Financial. Good to speak with you as always.
Thank you.